This is Corolla Digital.
Hello, my little macadamia nuts. It's me, Allison. Before the show officially starts, a few words. This episode is brought to you by the new Squarespace. Squarespace.com introduces a new content management system, making it faster and easier to create a high-quality website, blog, or online portfolio with professional designs and website templates optimized for any size smartphone, tablet, or computer. For a free trial and 10% off new accounts, go to squarespace.com/bestfriend and use offer code BESTFRIEND11. All right, I believe we have an iTunes comment of the week.
Allison wants your iTunes comments. Allison wants them, yes she does. Please leave her some iTunes comments and don't forget to click 5 stars.
All right, our iTunes comment of the week this week comes from Hot in Cleveland, and it is titled Simply ... Perfect. And I like to imagine that's because you referenced ellipses recently.
Oh, I like to imagine that as well.
All right, so it goes. Your show has gotten me through the last few rocky months of my relationship. Today, my fiance and I broke up for the 5th, oh God, I've lost count to be truthful, and final time. I know, how unhealthy that we kept it up this long and broke up this many times.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know what we were thinking, but I guess I may have been guilty of doing a lot of Rosenating myself and trying to salvage what was left of us. I truly enjoy listening to how you found Daniel and how good he is for you and how he just gets you. I love your self-deprecating sense of humor, and whenever you talk about gross stuff like farting, I can't help but laugh out loud. You make my hour-long drive to work amazing, and you're getting me through a tough time. Thank you, Allison, and keep rocking it out. I love everything you do on the show. P.S. Hearing how Jay Moore adores Nikki made me melt, and I loved hearing his stories. I am now listening to MS thanks to ARIYNBF.
Thank you, Hot in Cleveland, and you hang in there. That whole breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, breaking up thing is it takes some time to get over that, and it's painful. But I, just from hearing what you said in the comment, I think that you guys have made the right decision. And I wish you the best, and thanks, and keep listening. And if you would like your iTunes comment to be a potential iTunes comment of the week, then all you have to do is leave a comment and click 5 stars, and maybe we'll read it on the show. Who knows? Anything can happen. And one of those many anythings, I'm hating that rhyme, but I'm going to just let it go, that can happen is that you can win a contest such as the one that we held on this show, where we are giving an iPad away, an iPad from our friends at Citrix. And I said that I want the iPad. I wanted to enter the contest. All you had to do to win was to tell us where you would host a GoToMeeting, if you could host one anywhere in the world, and why. And now we have to give an iPad that will be autographed by moi, along with some show swag. We have to give that away to someone, to a stranger. I don't get to take it home, and I'm not okay with that. But congratulations, Rand GM. You won this iPad fair and square. What did his tweet say? His winning tweet?
Rand GM's winning tweet said, I'd host a meeting in Tokyo because my Japan vacation was derailed by my father dying. I'd hold a meeting with family.
It's very sweet. It tugs at my heartstrings. I hope you love your iPad. And let's talk about GoToMeeting for a minute, because I sure love GoToMeeting. I love the way that with GoToMeeting, if you need to have a meeting with people you work with, you don't have to get off of that chairlift, or maybe you've been making a snow angel, or perhaps you are... I'm thinking of other holiday things that prevent you from going into the office to meet. You could be sipping hot cocoa and you could burn the roof of your mouth and you wouldn't want to have to go into the office. You could be trimming a tree. It's weird that they call it trimming, but they do. There's all sorts of you could be an inclement weather. There's all sorts of reasons during the holiday season that you would need to meet face to face with your coworkers without actually being in the same space, and that is where GoToMeeting comes in hand. They have HD quality, so you see each other crystal clear, and you can hear each other, and you can collaborate on documents together. You can host a meeting from the iPad now. For example, you could host a meeting from the iPad that I am giving to someone. Ugh. Anyway. Gary and I love GoToMeeting. Try GoToMeeting free for 30 days. Don't wait for this special offer. Visit GoToMeeting.com, click on the Try It Free button, and use the promo code Allison. Be sure to use the promo code Allison. GoToMeeting. Meeting is believing. Also, in this holiday season, you might want to go to a game or an event, and you might okay, so a lot of people are going to want to go to games and events during the holiday season, and you might discover that the thing you want to go to is sold out, but you just know deep down in your heart of hearts, you just know that there's some tickets that are available, but they're not being sold through whatever you're looking at because it is coming up as sold out. Well, don't listen to the people who are telling you it's sold out. It's not. Go to scorebig.com. They have access to those seats, and unlike some other websites, what the amount that you say you want to pay, so it's like Priceline, but for tickets, to events and games, and you say, I want to pay this, and they say, yes, we can do that, or no, we can't, but yes, we can, and then that is all you pay. They don't tack on all these secret extra charges, and you don't feel shaken down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's unlike some other sites where you negotiate a price and you set it all up, and then there's all kinds of fees either for delivery or for seller's commission or whatever that is. With ScoreBig, you put in all your information first, your credit card and everything, and then you go and tell them, I can pay $45. And if they can do that, then your tickets, if you want to, you'll be charged $90. That includes everything, delivery of the tickets to you, all that. So there's nothing unexpected. It's exactly what you want. And with all the bowl games coming up, it's going to be really useful. So I definitely encourage people to check out scorebig.com.
Sometimes we watch football at my apartment, and I would like to put up my seat on the couch for sale on scorebig.com. Let me know if we can do that. Go to scorebig.com and enter the code FRIEND, because I'm like your best friend. So enter the code FRIEND at checkout and get an extra $15 off scorebig.com's already low prices for your first order. Tickets on scorebig.com are always below box office price guaranteed. Don't forget to enter FRIEND at checkout and get an extra $15 off scorebig.com's already low prices for your first order. Also, I would like to tell you guys about Squarespace. The new Squarespace is awesome. If you're designing a website or a blog or anything like that, you might know that is an exercise in frustration usually because you're writing code and you're doing things like that, and then all of a sudden you look at the web page that you just created and you think, that doesn't look anything like what I wanted it to look like. Or maybe just I've had that experience, but I don't think so. I think a lot of people have had that experience, which is why you need the new Squarespace, because it can help you make an amazing looking website, blog, or online portfolio faster and easier than ever. It's a unified service for giving you everything you need to create and maintain a professional-looking website: domain, design, development, hosting, and support. And they have drag-and-drop features, so things will appear where you want them to. You can design it well. Yes, Gary?
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's, for people who are a little bit more novice, the drag and drop is super easy. It's very intuitive. Squarespace has built their back end so that if you're viewing something on a different device...
I've built my back end.
Oh. Well, the way they built it is that if you're viewing it on a computer, it'll show up, I optimized for a computer. But if you happen to log on from an iPhone or an iPad, it will, or whatever tablet, it will optimize itself for that device without you having to do any work on your end. So that can be really, really convenient. And if you're a little nerdy like me, it's built on a cloud architecture, and they support HTML5, CSS3, JavaScript, all that stuff. So if you want to go in and tinker about by yourself and not use the drag and drop and make it a little more custom, that's still an option, but it's also great for novice users, so it's a great product.
I feel like you're calling me a novice, but that is okay, because that is what I am. And that's why I love the new Squarespace, because it's perfect for people like Gary, nerds, and people like me, novices. From novices to nerds. Use Squarespace for all your website needs. Build it, host it, update it anytime. For a free all-inclusive trial, go to squarespace.com. Sign up for a free account. No credit card needed. Just try it out and start building your website. Then if you decide to purchase it, use offer code BESTFRIEND11 and get 10% off your first order on new accounts. That means 10% off the first month or 10% off the first year, which is an even better deal. That's squarespace.com/bestfriend and use offer code BESTFRIEND11. There you go, you guys. Another important note. I am very hopeful that by the time you hear this, or a few days after, but who knows, the episode of my show that I did live, the bonus episode, Alison Rosen is Your Best Friend, live from LA Pod Fest, with guests Doug Benson and Greg Proops, the one that we've been saying, look for that in the iTunes store, look for it in the comedy section of the iTunes store for $1.99. I have been told that it's supposed to go up like any minute now. Gary and I did not think it would. It's been an ordeal and an odyssey and another big word meaning thing that is kind of painful and awful.
Yeah, I would like to apologize to.
Well, they'll hear in the episode.
Yeah.
They'll hear. So this is a 2-part episode. And they'll hear, I think it's at the end of the second part of the episode, which you can download the second part on Thursday morning. But this is the first part. Anyway, you'll hear a little something where. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, I have a little egg on my face because I chastised Allison for saying it may be in the store. Because
right.
At the point when we recorded this, you
said it will have been in the store for weeks now.
Yep.
That's what we thought, though.
Yeah. So I'd like to apologize.
Apology accepted.
I assure the listeners we are doing everything we can. iTunes is holding us up, and
I'm sending angry emails while still in bed in the morning.
Yes.
That's how much I am doing everything I can.
I have woken up to more than a few angry emails, so not to me.
Not to
I've
you.
been
Just
CC'd,
yeah.
But yes,
yeah.
We're very sorry.
Gotta stop doing that.
We're getting it done as fast as we can. The second it is up, I promise we will Twitter and Facebook like no other.
For anyone who's been bent over and given a gift by iTunes, wow. You just don't know until you try to do it how much they really have you over a barrel.
Yep, but we'll get it up as soon as we can, and thank you guys all for the people who have been emailing and asking where it is. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
We will get it up as soon as we can. We're very eager for you guys to hear it. It's a very funny episode with lots of dancing and songs.
I've been
it's
told.
Awesome.
I've been told it should be up this week, and I believe that to be the case. Anyway, I love you guys. Here is part 1 of the Christina Pazsitsky episode. Christina is, I love her. I just want to spend more time around her now. She hosts, well, I'm not going to tell you who she is because you're about to hear who she is on the episode. Okay, I love you guys, and don't forget to download the second part of this 2-part episode on Thursday morning, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison, with her good times never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Alison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone, hi, hello, it's me, Alison Rosen, and welcome to another episode of Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. My guest today is Christina Pazsitsky of Your Mom's House, co-host of Your Mom's House podcast, and former person from Road Rules.
Oh, why did you do that?
Oh, come on.
I'm trying to live that down.
You are? On Twitter, a long time ago, you said you were fine mentioning it, because it came up when Dave Holmes was on the show.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
What did he have to say?
Well,
do I know him? I don't think I know him.
He was an MTV VJ. He lost to Jesse Camp on that, like, I want to be a VJ thing, and he's a pop culture fan, as I am. And so then we just started talking about Road Rules and Real World, and I said, Christina from Road Rules a long time ago now has a podcast, and then we pulled up your picture and whatnot.
God, embarrassing.
So, yeah.
Can I tell you that more people remember me from that show than, like, I've done a lot of stuff since then. Like, I've been on Chelsea Lately for, like, a year and a half. And, like, VH1 stuff. And nobody remembers that as much as Road Rules.
It's weird. Did it have a larger audience then?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it was at a time... It was way more innocent back then. Mm-hmm. It was a time when the premise was like, let's get into a Winnebago and just get drunk for 2 months. And we didn't even fight, really. Like, I told Piggy she had no soul or something, and that, or maybe
Piggy.
Keefla, the black guy. Yeah.
I forgot. Where was Piggy from?
Oh, she's an asshole. Where is she? She's from
England.
England. Yeah, sorry.
I knew there was
I'm trying
an accent.
I'm blocking it out. Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
were you on the Jake and what's her name season? Or were you on a different season?
No, Jake is before me, but I know him. Yes,
okay.
I like him
He's like a
very
writer
much.
in New York, or was.
Yes, for like
magazines
FHM and stuff.
Yes.
Very cool dude. I like him a lot. There's very few people I keep in touch with. Like, I'm still BFFs with Susie Meister from my season. Do you remember Susie? She's like
I'm blanking out.
She's like the blonde Christian girl, and they put us together because I was all goth and like, and they thought we weren't gonna be friends, and we ended up getting along so well, and I still love her.
What I remember is you had short blonde hair,
Yeah.
and I think you wore glittery lipstick sometimes. Right?
Yeah, that was the 90s.
Wait, who else? Yes, the 90s.
And I wore denim overalls, unfortunately, in a few episodes too.
Did you ever undo like just
Come
oh
on.
Susie?
Come
Yes.
on, no. Oh, there she is too.
Hey, wait, who else was on that season?
I love her so much. Okay, so there's Susie, there's Keefla, Piggy the Crazy, Shane McBride from Canada, Chadwick, who was a compulsive liar and he
Not
did backflips.
many Chadwicks go by Chadwick.
Right, they usually, most sane people shorten it.
Right.
Chad.
Chadwick's
a little douchey.
Okay, now we're looking
But
at a photo.
so is Chadwick, so that was there we go. Oh my God.
Which one is Chadwick?
Look how young and cute I was. He's the first one.
With the giant guns.
You know what he reminds me of? What's that guy in the Breakfast Club? Judd Nelson a little bit there. You know what I mean? Like-
or do you mean Emilio Estevez?
Oh, maybe, yeah. It's hard to tell.
Judd Nelson was like the bad kid, the juvie. Is that what you mean?
He's doing the
Right.
fist pump thing
Yeah.
anyway. There we were.
There you
That was in
are.
Australia. That was in Melbourne. I think they shot that.
Now, did you go on and do the other shows?
Oh, no.
I'm gonna take that as a no.
Well, here's what happened. So, no, they asked me to do. I did one challenge in Jamaica, and they were like, "We'll give you $10,000 and a free trip to Jamaica, and if you last beyond 2 weeks, we give you like I don't know a few grand more." And I was like, "All right, it's a free trip," and it was sponsored by Red Stripe. So I just drank a lot of beer, and it was a very lesbian heavy season. It was like Ruthie and Genesis.
All the famous MTV lesbians.
The best.
Ruthie was an alcoholic, right?
She was.
From Hawaii.
Yeah,
season
she
of
cleaned
Real
up
House.
though, and so the lesbians kept me around way longer than I should have been. But I had a nervous breakdown like day 2 on that thing.
What happened?
Well, first of all, we're all lunatics, all right? I freely admit that I'm fucking bananas too.
Do you have to be to get on one of the shows?
Yeah,
Is
totes,
it?
yeah.
Wait, now do you mean because that makes for good television, or because you'd have to be nuts to want to do the show?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, but well, here's what they do. The casting process is really them breaking you down and seeing if you're willing to be emotionally vulnerable on camera. So that's really the process. That's why those old casting specials, if you don't cry, you're not on the show.
Wow.
So-
So like, what kind of stuff do they do during the cast? Like, how do they
So
break you
evil.
down?
Okay, I'll tell you. Here's how you get on a reality show, if you want to know.
We do.
Okay, so you got to share a lot of it, like family information, really personal shit that you wouldn't tell people. Yeah, and then you have to cry during casting. And I remember one day there was a final audition, like whatever interview, and I wasn't crying yet because I was like, I don't. And they called in the big guns, the psychologist that they worked with, and they brought up my relationship with my mother, who I have a very strained relationship with, and I was like, oh, they want me to cry, and I knew that they wanted me.
You could feel it.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, just give them what they want and get on road rolls. I cried. Yeah, it was so cheesy, yeah.
Do you think there was a difference? Because you were saying that it was innocent. Do you think
It
there's
was.
a difference between your years and like now? Because I just remember with Real World, around the Las Vegas season, all of a sudden they were like getting naked in the hot tub the first night, and I thought, it's so different now than it was at the beginning.
Oh, it sucks now. I would rather join the Taliban than do one of these stupid challenges because the show's lost its integrity. The premise was, hey, 6 strangers getting to have this great experience, getting to know each other, finding themselves. They're all like 19 and 20. And now it's just like a bunch of hot dopes
Right.
hooking up.
Drunk sluts.
Yeah, giving each other chlamydia, and that's the show. And they're boring. They're fucking boring because most hot 20-year-olds are goddamn boring. They don't have anything to say. There's no personality there.
Right.
So I can't even watch it. And I think what happened, it used to be, the company is called Bunham Murray. Mary Ellis Bunham, she's dead now, but she used to cast these shows, and she had a soap opera background. And so she really had an eye for interesting people and interesting story. And when she kicked the bucket, everything changed. That's my theory.
It's like they just went for people who were like on 10 to begin with.
Tits and ass. It was a
Yeah.
TNA show. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the Vegas cast was the tipping.
Right. Well, because they seemed very self-aware. Like, they seemed like people who knew exactly what they were getting into. Now, I have heard
Kill myself thinking
something.
about it.
What? Okay, I'll only make you want to kill yourself for like 5 more
No,
minutes.
you can ask me. My disgust has nothing to do with you asking me. It just I have physical revulsion now thinking about the people.
Right.
Sorry. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I had a flashback.
I've heard, and I'm just going to berate you with it.
Go
just
ahead.
a couple more minutes.
I love it.
I've heard something about people are either like they put them into categories of green light, red light, or yellow light when they're casting them, and the now I'm making this up, but it's something like the green light people are ones who will get along with everyone. The red light people are ones who will fight with everyone, and the yellow light are sort of, they could go either way. And that I feel like I was reading about casting for Survivor maybe or something like that. This is years ago, or someone told me, or I just pulled this out of my ass. And it's not the last one. The yellow light ones, they could go either way, and that's actually who they want. Does that make any sense? Or do you think they want contentious, like people who will get in conflict?
No, because if you look at the casting for my season, like Piggy was clearly imbalanced emotionally. Like she has real, I think, problems. And so she was supposed to be the one, the shit mixer. They always like Puck. Remember Puck?
Yes.
Dude, that guy is like the red light contentious, just
Right.
there to start some shit. Yeah, I think they want more red lights now than anything. It
Right.
seems to me it's really...
Right. So how old were you when you did this show? You were 18, you said?
No, I was 21. 21. I just turned 22, I think.
Okay.
So when I was cast, I was 21.
And what made you want to do it? Like, what was your? You grew up in the Valley, you
Good
said,
question.
right?
Yeah.
So what was that like, and what made you want to do the show?
Well, I grew up in the Valley, but I was a real. I hated being home. I didn't like the Valley. I didn't like being at home. So I was out like in Hollywood, hitting the streets. Not hitting the streets as in like prostitute, but I was a fucking punker, goth, wild child. I was doing acid and smoking cigarettes and going to goth clubs and stuff by the time I was 15, and I was adventurous. And I studied abroad a year in England. This is in college. I studied philosophy.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to University of San Francisco, which is like the best city to be young and frivolous and crazy, because it's all people questioning their sexuality and taking drugs. It's awesome. So yeah, I came back from a year abroad, and I was living in a closet, literally, like with 5 other kids, because rents were crazy in the 90s. And I was like, I just want to get back and see the world again. And I found a flyer in the school cafeteria for Road Rules, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna go. Fuck it, man. And it ended up just progressing. Like, one interview turned into 3 and 4, and then before you know it, I was on the show.
At that point, did you think that you wanted to be a performer?
No, the stand-up thing came much later. It happened because, like I said, I studied philosophy, and then I graduated. I was like, oh, there's no philosophy company to work at.
You didn't want recruited?
Yeah,
By Anderson Philosophy.
Right. Lots of ideas, nothing to do. Excuse me. I'm sorry. This is your podcast.
Excuse me.
I shouldn't burp. Oh, I'm such a loser. I do this on my own podcast, not yours. I don't know. And then I was real depressed growing up, actually. I was very depressed for many years, like hardcore goth, Bauhaus, Joy Division listening.
And was this kind of before the days where they put everyone on meds who was depressed?
Oh, yeah. God, no. There's no such thing. There was no such thing. So I don't know. I was always attracted to comedy, but I didn't know that women could really be stand-ups per se. I didn't see that as an option. I saw that I could be on SNL, but I didn't like character work. I felt that was too, I don't know, inauthentic. I
feel like growing up in terms of stand-up I don't know how old you are. I feel like
I'm 36.
Oh, okay. We are about the same age, except I'm 37. But stop laughing at me, Gary.
Oh my gosh.
Growing up,
hold on. What birth month? Like, when were you 37?
May.
I have to know. Okay.
I'm going to be 37 and a half. And when this comes out, I will.
So depressing.
I was thinking, it really is. I was thinking about that as I was driving over. I was thinking, my half birthday's coming up. Fuck, I'm old.
Kill me. Yeah, I know.
So anyway, growing up, 37. Rita Rudner, Judy Tenuta, Paula Poundstone,
Yeah.
Elaine Boozler.
Yeah.
I feel like those that's who the female stand-ups were.
Yeah, and they all had shoulder pads, and it was like, so my period came late, and you're like, oh my god, like it just didn't seem very cool. It didn't seem like a cool thing to get into until
No, not at all.
No, until I saw Janine Garofalo when I was like in high school, and I was like, oh, I want to be Janine Garofalo. Like she finally looked like me and had the bad attitude that I did, and then and I did Groundlings when I graduated from college. And I hated it because, like, have you ever done that stuff, the improv?
Yeah, a bit. I took improv classes in New York when I
Okay.
lived there, but I didn't actually, I was not on a team, and I didn't do the whole, like, performing at the club thing, improv style.
Okay, but it was like a comedy improv way, or just like a scene?
It was the one, oh my God, why am I blanking out? It's the big one, the one that does Ass Cat out here. Help me, Gary.
UCB.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I did
they're good.
improv in New York, yeah.
I think they're good, but the Groundlings I felt was so cheesy because they're like, you're in a donut shop and you're doing your speech, and I was like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, I just felt that I had more stuff to say. I had stuff to talk about, not just doing space work in like a hot room.
Well, see,
it
that
stresses
was
me
my
out.
problem with it as well, because it would be like the second day or whatever, and they're like, okay, everyone get on the ground. Now I'm going to say an age.
Right.
And then you have to act out that age without using any words, but you can make sounds. 6 months old. And then so everyone around is like flopping around being like, or whatever. And I'm just looking around like, oh my God, you guys look like a bunch of fucking idiots. And I know that means that I'm not the improv material if I was that
No.
self-conscious. But, or they, did you guys do Heralds?
No, but I know what that is because
The
my
long-
friend
yeah.
Sarah was in that. Yeah, like
The
long form.
Right. So they start with like
my God.
balloon, and then everyone has to, act out balloon or like, and I don't know, people just so quickly turn into such dorks. I sound very judgmental.
No, I
But
think
At that point, like, that wasn't funny
well,
or fun.
here's the thing: is that honestly, it can't. Good improv, I guess, is good.
Mm-hmm.
I find that. All right, this is a total comic in me. Like, this is going to sound terrible, but I do feel like it's kind of it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit of a cheat, the improv thing.
Oh,
You got
yeah,
you and
'cause
5
it's-
other people.
yeah.
And, you can be accidentally funny. And stand-up is like, hey, go out to Peoria for a week, and you make this fucking room full of people laugh every night, and you're across from a dirt track next to a strip club. Try that on. Like, so
Right.
I like the toughness of it. I like the hard knocks. I like the punk of it, the punk rockness of just like, oh,
That
yeah.
is so stripped down.
Yeah, I love the realness. And I think today in our society, everybody's so in front of their computers and the tweeting, and there's very little authentic connection. The comedy club is the last place you can sit in the dark with a bunch of strangers and have this collective experience that means something, kind of like podcasting now, where people are. I love podcasting because it's like, oh, guess what, you guys? All these major networks, they're fucking wrong. America's a lot smarter than you think because they're listening to podcasts. And this is
Right.
nothing but a long discussion. And it's not like,
Well,
bow, 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 bow. It's fucking real.
Right. I've been saying that I think podcasts are replacing books. I think if people want to
it's interesting.
experience ideas that unfold slowly,
Right.
podcasts are that more than anything on TV or the radio is, for sure. But
Yeah.
now I've heard comedians who do stand-up talk about the fact that doing podcasting makes them approach their stand-up differently because they're so authentic and there's no veil at all during the podcast, that then to go on stage where they're doing material that they've done before. Like, how do
Yeah.
you feel about that?
I always feel like I'm disappointing the podcast listeners. Like, I'm so thankful when they show up. Like, I can tell who's a podcast listener versus just someone that, went to the Cheesecake Factory and then came over to see my show at the Improv. Like, I'm so thankful for everybody that comes to my shows, obviously. But when it's a mommy, this is what we call our listeners, you can see it in their face. Like, there's this relationship, this unspoken thing. And I always feel like I'm disappointing them because I think that they want me just to stop telling jokes and talk
Talk about what's going on
bullshit.
with you.
Yeah, which I would love to do. I don't get paid just to do that, though.
So, okay, you call your listeners and your husband, Tom Segura,
Right.
You guys both call each other mommy. And do you also call each other jeans?
Or some variant, mommy jeans, doggy jeans.
Where did this all come from? I need the backstory on all of this.
Does it seem, you seem like a together person, Allison.
Oh, but I'm not. Thank you.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. You live with your boyfriend, right?
I do, yes.
How long have you guys been together?
About a year and a half.
Oh, that's a really cute time.
Thank you.
Are you guys farting in front of each other?
That has just begun. Yeah. For a while, no. But okay, so you burped earlier on this podcast.
Sorry, yeah.
That's totally okay.
Okay.
I have realized that since moving in with my boyfriend, I forget to, like, before we didn't make a habit of burping in front of each other, although
Right.
I'm fine with that. In fact, I feel like theoretically or intellectually, this is my intellectual take on burping and farting.
Okay.
Intellectually, I feel like you should be burping and farting in front of your significant other all the time. You
I
should
agree.
probably be going to the bathroom with the door open. Like, that's the kind of open...
Number 2 or number 1?
Both. I mean, that's the kind of openness I just would like to think.
Okay.
And yet, we don't do that. Like, we still pretty much close the door, number 1 even. Although I wouldn't really have a problem with having the door open for that. Although I guess there's not really any need. But anyway, where I'm going with this, though, is that now that we live together, I am totally unable to not really, like, burp loudly out loud. And then I do it and I think, what? It's like I'm forgetting. The fact that I'm at home is superseding the fact that I'm not alone.
Right. Well,
It wasn't a conscious choice.
No, but I like that because
Okay.
My theory with this too is that if you're holding in farts or burps, you're holding in secrets in your relationship because it's an inauthentic way of being.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you would have ripped one alone, why not share that with the guy in your life?
Right. I guess. Yes.
So, anyways, my husband and I, just so you know, we're very open and we're very weird like that. So this is how my husband broke the fart barrier with me, just so you know.
Okay.
We were sitting on my couch. We were dating 3 months in. Mm-hmm. And he's in his boxer shorts. I'm in my jammies. And he grabs my hand and he puts it in his crotch. And then he rips one. And I was like, I think I'm going to marry you. Like, I don't know. There was something. It was a risky move on his part.
Something so innocent and authentic about that, though.
3 months in.
Yeah.
So then, okay, so the mommy thing.
But if he's in his boxers and you're in your pajamas 3 months in, like, you're already very comfortable with each other, obviously, at that point. Yeah.
Well, Tommy and I, we broke down barriers very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm. How fast?
3 months in. But I'm answering with the mommy jeans and the mommy stuff.
Yeah.
It came from a discussion. You know how gross it is? I think it's disgusting in Latin culture when
Yes,
the
I know where.
mommy,
Yes,
papi.
yeah.
And we came back from Florida, I think, where his family lives. And I was like, that stuff is so gross, dude. I'm mommy. And that's how it started. We started calling each other mommy as a joke. And then it just evolved. And so now our friends and our family call us mommy. We call everybody mommy in our life. Like my best friend, everybody's a mommy
Right.
or mommy jeans. My new nephew is baby jeans. Everybody's in the jeans.
Are you but now when you say it, are you imagining M-A-M-I or M-O or the other way? Because I think that in Latin culture it's M-A-M-I.
I think you're right. Mm-hmm. But we honktified it. So it's M-O-M-M-Y.
You've whitewashed it. Thank you.
Yep.
Now, why do you find it gross, even though I totally agree with you and agreed with you?
Find what gross? The mommy thing?
Yeah.
Because it's a maternal/paternal relationship. Like, why would you sexualize even the daddy? Like, that's so grody to me, dude. Like, some guy be like, "Who's your daddy?" Like, oh, it's Art Pazsitsky. He works. He's a forklift mechanic in the valley. Why would you?
Yeah.
Or people are like, let's do it in my parents' bed when they're gone for vacation.
Oh.
Did you ever do that?
No.
Yeah, it's so gross, right?
I'm trying to think if I've ever even had sex in my parents' house.
I hated it. I hated doing that.
I don't think I
growing up.
did. I know
the
that
pressure.
Yeah.
The fucking pressure. Even when they were gone on vacation and I'd have my boyfriend over, I was like, oh, they're going to come home early. Mm-hmm. They're going to find me. They're going to kill me.
Would they have?
Yeah, my parents are pretty strict. My dad's like Hungarian, old school. Yeah.
Art of the story but a moment ago?
Yeah. From Canoga Park. Yeah, he just made an appearance on our podcast. Mm-hmm. we had Roseanne Barr on.
I know. I want to
It's
ask you
so
about
cool,
that. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, Tommy, we should call our dads because his dad's a conservative Republican and my dad's pretty liberal, and have their takes on the election.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and my dad's super patriotic because he's a foreigner and like he escaped from Hungary to come here, and he's a self-made man. Like I so respect him. And he goes, Mitt Romney, he's like a used car salesman. He's like the manager of the Honda dealership. I was laughing anyway. So he got a bunch of fan mail, a bunch of fan tweets today, and I showed them to him, and he was very excited. What do you think of the mommy thing? Why is it gross to you?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the sexualizing the mom, and then calling a stranger that I call like a little kid, like, hey, mommy is just any woman. It's weird.
It's a weird. I wonder why they do that. They're pretty matriarchal Latin cultures, right? Like they like the Virgin Mary and stuff.
Yeah, I guess. What is it? Is it, or are they patriarchal? I would say they're patriarchal.
You think so?
Maybe I'm wrong though.
I don't know, dude.
Gary, what's your take?
They seem very matriarchal.
But do you think
Mom.
the mommy thing is weird?
Yes.
Hi, mommy.
Yeah, especially when it's in that voice.
I used to go to public school here in the Valley. I went to Portola Junior High, and there was this one guy in my math class. This Mexican guy, he would wear a poncho, and he would always rub his crotch in math class and look at me and go, "Ay, mommy, ay."
Oh.
So I think I also have that association.
Yeah.
When you get sexually harassed with it yourself, you're like, not so hot.
He would wear a poncho year round.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that doesn't breathe.
It's not. It's like it was made of like a burlap material.
This is reminding me of the fact that I think I had a poncho at one point. What's the thing that's just like a circle of fabric and it has
I
little
know.
slits that you stick your
Is
hands?
it a capelet?
Yes. We wore such weird stuff back then. And then also I had, I think, bloomers and culottes.
What?
Yeah, I had various arrays of long shorts.
Short pants, right? Isn't that what
Yeah.
the English call them? Like short pants?
Oh, really? I think sometimes we just call them shants. But I always think like jams is what those were as well.
Those are so ugly, jams. Well,
Yeah.
you grew up in Orange County. Everybody wore
did.
jams then,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. Culottes are...
Culottes are like, I feel like they're like bell bottoms that end at your knees. They're just bell bottoms on a smaller scale. Gary, could we turn the air on? Thank you.
I would like that.
Yes, it's what the fuck is going on? It is going to be, actually now it's like early November. It's going to be mid to later November. Who knows when this is going to air? Sometime soon.
hot.
And it's so hot.
It's so gross. And I'm dressed
Yeah.
like a total goth queen, too.
And I am too.
Well, were you in high school?
I was someone who wanted desperately to fit in the first few years. And then, that makes it sound like I was in high school for like so many years.
And then the second 5 years.
Right. And then by the end, I just I accepted that I was who I was, and I was just sort of someone who was kind of on the fringes of things and couldn't wait to get out of there.
Oh,
I didn't
hated
really,
high school.
I didn't really belong to any. I had two best friends, and we hung out with each other, and I just kind of disliked it, but. I went to a small private kindergarten through 8th, and that was a much more intense experience. High school I went to public high school, and it was big, and in that way I kind of liked that you could just kind of eke by and not really be conspicuous, whereas everyone had their designated role kind of at the school that I'd gone to before, and it was like we were with the same people from 5 years old to 13.
Oh, so you really grew up with those kids?
Yes.
And you already knew who they were, and they knew you. And...
Yeah, and you just were sort of, I don't know, you were just kind of pigeonholed. You were just of a type or whatever, and then all of a sudden I could. Yes, Gary?
Gary?
No, I totally agree with you.
What?
Yeah, no, I don't know. It seems weird. It's
Fucking, where is Gary?
I'm trying to think. It seemed weird that you
pregnant
said. It seemed weird that you said that the high school was big because by a lot of people's standards,
We
it
went
was
to the
kind
same
of
high
small.
school.
Oh,
But
that's
compared
right.
to
Harvard, yeah,
right,
yeah.
compared to a class of 44, it was
Yeah,
big.
Absolutely.
How
but
big was your
many
your high school?
Well, here's the thing. I got kicked out of public school. I went to
For what?
oh boy. I decided to stop going
That's such a wise decision, though.
Yeah, 9th grade, I was like, you know what? I don't really like it here, and I just stopped going. I didn't.
How long did it take them to catch up with you?
Okay, here's how long you can go in high school.
Oh, good. This is useful.
Just so people know, you can go an entire semester.
Wow.
I would say I had about 3 weeks left in the semester. Here's the thing: I went sporadically. You have to show up at least like once a day at some point to check in, like at homeroom, because they'll call your house. They used to call your house.
Well, if you have to show up once a day, what's the fucking point?
I know, dude. You just have to check in, but you can show up I just show up way late. I would ditch out on PE and all that stuff. Yeah, and then I went to an all-girls Catholic high school. So I got kicked out of public school. My parents put me in this all-girls Catholic school, and it was like heaven on earth. I loved it.
Really?
Oh, it was so great because you could leave your book bag somewhere and walk across campus and nobody would steal it. And I wasn't getting into fights. I used to get in a lot of fights with black chicks a lot.
Physical fights?
Oh, yeah. Did you ever
Wow.
fight with black girls?
No, I've actually never, and I hope this doesn't jinx it, because at this age my bones will break.
It's brutal.
I've never been in a physical fight. Never ever.
You've never lived.
Evidently, I have not. It's kind of a rite of passage, I guess. I know that at tennis camp, though, when there was one time where I was holding my racket, and I'm like, I've had some experiences on the streets as well. At tennis camp, this girl was driving me crazy, and I was like holding my racket, and I was like, hold me back. I didn't actually say that, but I thought that. I'm like, I am having trouble not hitting her with this racket right now. I'm so annoyed.
Whoa, what did she do?
I think it was just she was picking on me, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I wish I could remember exactly what she was saying, but it was something where it was, instead of feeling like intimidated, it was like a little, like there was like a gnat buzzing around me, and it was her.
So she pushed your buttons.
Yes.
That
Yeah,
bitch
that's
found your
whatever.
core.
Yeah. I don't know. I wish I could remember what specifically it was, but it was...
Well, there is one thing. I find
think
that you
that
get picked on for one thing, generally. Everybody gets like...
I was usually picked on for being overweight.
Really?
Yeah, but
You
I don't...
were? You're so tiny.
yeah. Oh my God. Let's just make the whole podcast just that. Let's just play that in a loop.
You look so great.
Oh my God, thank you. Oh my
Well,
God.
how fat were you?
I was pretty fat.
Do you have a number? Can you tell us, or do you feel too?
Honestly, I don't, because I was a kid, so I don't know. I don't know what normal kid weights are. I know that in
don't
4th
either.
grade, I think I was like 102.
Okay.
Which I remember we had this like 4th grade superstar thing, and every kid was superstar for a week, maybe.
Superstar. What kind of weird school?
Someone
is that?
else had that reaction to that too.
Well, I
But-
grew up not being infused with self-esteem, like at school particularly. Like they broke you down in school, and that's how you grew up to be a good person.
Well, the kids broke you down. I think the
right.
teachers were trying to instill something. But anyway, I know there was something, maybe this wasn't part of that, but everyone like wrote down hair color, eye color, height, weight, something, and then the person, they'd like read it and you had to guess who it was. Now, just the fact that black hair, brown eyes, that alone would have identified me. I mean, it was either me or Wonky Kim also had that. That's a real person.
Wonky Kim.
It's true.
Oh, look at you laughing. You remember her.
Whoa.
Gary remembers.
It was a boy. Wonky and I were friends in like 1st grade. But anyway, but I remember the teacher was like, okay, hair brown, hair black, eyes brown, weight. Oh, that's not important. Okay, well, and then like all the hands shot up, Allison. But so whatever my weight was in 4th grade was enough that she didn't want to say it because it would have embarrassed me.
Right.
Because I remember just feeling sort of broken down at that point and being like, I'm tired of lying about this, so I'm just going to write down what the real thing is.
Yeah.
And that's at 9 years old, I thought that.
Very liberating, though, no?
Yes, although, I mean, then it's not like I had this self-acceptance, ever since then. But so anyway, I always struggled with my weight. And then I sort of have been, I think, probably until I moved to New York. And then I was able to sort of slowly get it like under control, I guess is the word. But I mean, it's just like a constant struggle for me.
I hate my body every day, all day.
I'm in that club too.
Well, and I don't want to. It's just it's a nonstop battle. Like I was just like, this is really personal, but I'll just share.
Please.
My tits are hurting today, right?
Okay.
My boobs are hurting.
Is it that time of the month?
It's gonna be soon. So
We have
Yay!
only just met, and I think we're on the same cycle. Yeah. Just last night, actually, I was recording my show, and I was talking about my period as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyway.
But that constant battle with, like, I hate the, I don't want to say hate. When I gain weight, I gain it in my boobs. And I know a lot of women are like, oh, I wish I had that problem. Like, no, you don't, because they're overwhelming sometimes, and they hurt, and like that's when I get bummed about my body. And
when your boobs hurt?
Yeah, when I have to feel it.
Yeah.
Because I don't go out in bathing suits a ton, and I've kind of accepted that. I've kind of accepted, like, if I go to the beach.
I haven't been in a bathing suit in about like a year.
Really?
I think so.
And
but anyway, go ahead.
No, but do you feel, like, how do you feel when you wear it?
Oh, awful. Yeah, my boyfriend and I
best.
went to Las Vegas over a year ago, actually. And see, here's part of the problem is that I was like, I'll just put on this bathing suit that is like 12 years old or something. So part of it, I had two bathing suits, like the kind where the elastic is so old that it's like...
Oh, no, girl.
Yeah, because I didn't want to go through the whole shopping for a bathing suit thing, and I figured, what the hell, these work?
No.
In terms of whatever a bathing suit's supposed to do. So it was a combination of a bathing suit that was super out of style and old, and then just feeling uncomfortable. And yeah, I kind of had... Meltdown is too strong, but I remember him saying, I feel bad that I feel like I put you in a bad position because, like, by taking me to a place where we were going to go swimming, which is silly, And I was like, no, like, this is like, the fact that I have this much much shit going on in regards to my body and how I look is my problem. I do not want this to be something that affects you. Of course it does sometimes.
Yeah.
But I try to keep that. I try not to put that onto other people too much.
Well, and also I think there's a point, like, at least I've reached that point where I'm like, you know what, dude? It's never going to be, like, I'm never going to be what I was in high school or college. I weighed, like, at one point 117. When I did Road Rules, I weighed 117. I
How
don't
tall
weigh
are
that.
you?
I'm 5'7".
Okay.
And
Wow.
now I fluctuate.
Did
I'm in
you
the
have to
high
struggle
140s. No.
then?
No, I was just a skinny person. I swear to God. But I smoked a lot of cigarettes. I drank a lot of coffee. I just didn't eat because I was so full of anxiety being in college and everything, I think. And then I got on the road as a comic, and that's when I got real fat because I get real lonely, and then I like to eat my feelings of loneliness.
Same.
And my favorite is cheese. I love mozzarella. Fried mozzarella sticks are my favorite. I like to drink Chardonnay and then eat, like, really shitty food in my hotel room a lot. That's my bottom. That's when I know I'm depressed, when I'm like, I'm going to drink wine and have cheese and just watch Here Comes Honey Boo Boo or whatever is on my TV.
I had a lonely carbohydrate bottoming in a hotel as well because staying in this hotel, and the hotel had free packets of oatmeal. And they had a vending machine full of the worst kind of crap.
Right, they all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to be in this state that I'm in. And I don't mean emotionally, I mean literally the state that I was in. I forget what state it was. It was somewhere in the middle.
Is it Iowa?
No.
I was just depressed in Iowa.
Yeah. It may as well have been, though. It was just, like the Radisson or something. I don't know. Anyway, though, so I ate a bunch of oatmeal and some stuff from the vending machine, but I just ate the oatmeal without cooking it.
Wow.
It's not, it sounds disgusting, and
It
you got to be
does.
careful. You need to have enough, like water or something near you because you could choke otherwise. You don't want to cough because you'll cough
Wait.
out oats.
Why didn't you microwave it?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
This sounds like some sort of sick self-punishment.
What?
It's not that bad. I mean, it's okay. Think about an oatmeal. Think about like any sort of baked good that has oats on it. That's probably not cooked.
Yeah.
So you can't
But wait.
eat oats that are just out of a packet.
But what if you eat it and then, like, it expands in your stomach, and then can that happen?
I think it can, because I know that there was a stomach ache that followed it, and I was like, oh man,
Dude, that's
all
bad.
the oats.
You know what? Okay, here's my bottom. Here's when I know I'm really depressed. I like to get a block of cheddar cheese, and then I'll cut off about, like, a 2-inch chunk of it, and then I'll put that chunk on a plate, and then I'll just microwave it until it gets real gooey, and then I like it to get ripply, like lacy. You know what I mean? When you kind of over microwave it, and then
yeah.
it gets hard, and then you can pick it off the plate and just eat it.
Do you have to wait for it to cool down a bit to pick it off the plate?
No,
though?
dude. The best part's the challenge of like, oh, I might burn myself. And then you burn yourself, and it's pain and punishment and reward all at the same time.
God, I feel like I know what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah.
Is cheddar your favorite?
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
And smoked Gouda is now my new favorite.
See, I would have thought that it's only diet food because diet food, if you microwave it too much, it'll turn back into its original styrofoam and like bee pollen or whatever the hell's in it. But I didn't realize that something genuine like cheese will get hard in the microwave.
Yeah, eventually it will. It'll go back. Yeah, it'll harden, and then I like that chewiness. It's like it's fun, and I have bondings. I have fake front teeth, so I gotta be real careful about what I chew.
What happened to your original front
Oh
teeth?
yeah, I knocked half of one out in 3rd grade on the playground. Some kid I never saw before.
Scrapping with the black girls?
No, that was later. No, black girls will
Hair pulling.
Can I tell you that? Like fighting a black, I think seriously that because I fought black chicks, it turned me into a comic. Like I could have been a normal blonde white girl. Like I was on that trajectory. I swear to God, 7th grade. I was starting to listen to The Cure. I was already on the dark side of the force a little bit, and I started to fucking scrap with this. Okay, when I say black girls, I know how racist that sounds. Let me narrow it down. Okay, not all black girls are naturally violent and will beat the shit out of you. Just the ones that went to Portola Junior High in Encino between the years 1989 and like 1990. Okay, so there was like a group of 3 of them, and this girl Rosina Johnson. Okay, that's her. I guess that's her real name. Whatever. She would sing Bobby Brown's "Every Little Step" in the locker rooms, like right behind me. She would get in my face and be like, "Every step I take," and I was like, "Oh my God, dude! Like, what would you do? You would tell her to shut the fuck up, right?"
I don't know what I would do.
I told her to shut the fuck up, which is a bad decision.
Now, was she trying to drive you insane?
Yeah. It was part of the psychological warfare,
right?
Getting in my head and trying to screw with me. But anyway, I mean, I say fight loosely. Like she really, like, she would just fuck. Like she would choke me, and then someone would punch. It was crazy. Yeah, it was like prison. And people are like, "Well, why didn't someone step in?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
they just
were
they not around, or they didn't care to,
they
or
didn't
it was
care.
just
I think
street justice.
Yeah, I think I just think they didn't care. I don't think they cared. But can I tell you something? Like now, looking back as a grown up, I'm like, you know what? First of all, it made me a lot tougher, and it also, I think this generation doesn't respect. How should I say this? Like
mean
when you
black
go on,
girls?
No. When you go on YouTube and you find comments that people are like I went to a Beatles video, right? Let It Be, and some kid wrote under a Beatles video like, "John Lennon sucks. The Beatles are faggots." And you're like, "Oh, really? You hate the Beatles, you piece of shit? Like, how dare you write something cruel to somebody on the internet? Like, you don't know." And they don't care because it's anonymous. There's no Rosina Johnson that's going to come and beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Because they don't learn that lesson. This generation doesn't learn that you
there's
can't just
consequences
say
to what you
things
said. That's
to
so
people.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so that's why they can go on Twitter and troll you and say hateful things.
I had never thought of it that
crazy.
way, because I do hate the hateful things that people say.
Oh, it's crushing, and especially if you're a performer, you're fucking way insecure. I'm way insecure.
Yeah, that's the whole point. That's why we're performers.
Yes,
we just want to be loved.
Oh, so I just want the approval of
Yeah,
everybody. I want everyone to love me the way my parents did. Like, you know what I mean? It's,
yes.
Why are you a performer? You think? What's your issue?
I don't know if I could reduce it to just one.
Okay.
God.
Are you in therapy?
Did you say am I in therapy?
Yeah.
Not currently, although I have been saying for a long time that I really want to get back into therapy.
Oh, it's the best. You gotta
I
do
need
it.
to. I know. I haven't
But a good
found
one.
a therapist out here.
Okay. Well, I have a
And-
good one. I can
Really?
recommend you. Yeah.
I would actually, just today I sat there in front of my inbox. My mouth made a farting sound as I said that. I said like in front of my inbox. Because I have the name of someone, and I was like, we made tentative plans to have a phone chat, you know, to this is when I wasn't living. Now I live like really close to where she lives, but before I didn't. But then she didn't confirm it or whatever a long time ago, and then I was like, I should just email her and I should just make an appointment, but I don't want to. But if you have the name of someone good, that'd be good.
I do.
Is it a man or a woman?
It's a woman.
Okay,
I don't
that's
want to go to a
no,
dude.
That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to go to a dude either. Well, why do you not want to?
Dude, because one time I did, and it was a space alien. This guy was wearing, like, mommy jeans. There you go.
Okay.
High, light denim mom jeans and then
Did he
white.
have an ample butt? Because that's weird.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he looked like Santa Claus, and he had on that, and then he had on white Velcro shoes.
Mm-hmm.
White Velcro shoes. And I remember thinking, like, yo, this guy doesn't even know how to dress himself. How is this guy going to straighten out my life when he can't even fucking put on a normal outfit and walk out the door? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to learn how to present yourself to the world if you're going to change my life around.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, he had me do a lot of, like, performance things. Like, I want you to put your hand on your heart and then act out. Talk to your childhood self. And I was like, get fucked. Like, I perform for a living.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come in here and do a theater for you, your little
Right.
improv sketch. Like, just keep it real. I can't stand, phony baloney, like,
Yes.
acting out and stuff. So
Right.
I see a lady, and she really changed my life. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
Actually, I can tell you where I found her, at the Wright Institute. It's called the Wright Institute on Pico on the west side, West
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles. I highly recommend for anybody. They work on a sliding scale. I don't know why I'm doing an infomercial for them, but they're
No, it's good.
fantastic.
This is helpful. Wait, now what kind of therapy is it?
Psychotherapy. Psychotherapists, they're all in their PhDs getting their final training.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you and like one person. You see one person, but then that person takes your case back to like 10 other people so that they're being
Right.
reviewed.
Uh-huh.
So you have like 10 eyeballs essentially on your case, which is awesome. I can't recommend it. It's really turned me around. Like, I joke about stuff, but that's only because I've straightened it out emotionally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I could talk about getting the shit beat out of me by black chicks because it doesn't hurt me the way it did before I went to therapy.
Yeah. All right. I will take that name from you.
Do it, man.
And yeah, I know I really should. I really should be back in therapy, and I just, for some reason, I was actually thinking about that today.
Dude,
I did
and
a
you
lot of
work with
thinking
all
earlier.
dudes.
Yeah.
Like, you work in I work in a dude-heavy environment, too. And I think it can fuck with you as a lady if you're not, like, you got to be super resilient. I mean, you're working with, like, the dude of dudes.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Head dude.
The HDIC. And, like, how do you deal with dudes?
I was actually, I feel like I prefaced the last 13 sentences with, I was actually just thinking. But I was
Are
actually
you being
just thinking
self-conscious?
a
Because
little
it's PMS,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get that way, too.
I'm
I
kind
hate
of always
everything I
that way,
say.
though.
Always? Are you always hypercritical?
Often. Part of the reason
That's
I choose.
crippling. Oh,
is.
I'm that way, too, though, a lot. Not all the time, but yes.
Yeah.
I hate everything
I like
do.
when I have breaks from it, though. But now, you know what I have, though? I will answer that in 1 second, though. But I was just thinking recently that I hate everything that I was in the past.
Oh, me too.
A little too much.
You judge it.
Yes, very much so. Because I had to find an old picture of me for for Janet Varney's podcast, because she runs a current picture of you and then a picture of you from adolescence. So I was going back and looking at photos, and like every photo from every stage of my life, I was like, when I thought about that time of my life, I was like, ugh, 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 and I just kept having that self-loathing reaction.
Yes.
And then I was thinking, how far am I going to take this? Like, if I think about me 6 months ago, do I have that reaction? I don't know. It's
I
weird.
do. I see pictures of me on Facebook that I take with audience, and I'm like, oh, I'm so fat, grow, my tits are huge. Like, I can't even watch myself on television if I'm ever on like a VH1 thing or what. Like,
Yeah.
I can't hear myself do stand up. Like, I think
Do you listen to your own podcast?
no. God, no. I mean, my
So
husband.
you're just like you're just like a shark. You just keep swimming, keep moving.
Yeah.
Because I have
I
become
don't
that
like
way.
it.
I used to, any TV thing I did, I'd come home and watch it.
What?
And I
No.
now, like, there's a few things I've done on E that I haven't watched, and people will tell me about them, and I'll think I should really watch it, at least to see what they chose,
Right.
so I know what it is that they want. If I do one of these things in the future, but I still can't bring myself to do it. I don't know. It's weird.
I hate everybody I've ever slept with before my husband.
Ooh.
I judge my I didn't bang a lot of dudes, and I kind of regret that because I grew up in the AIDS generation. You remember AIDS came out?
I do.
Yeah, and everybody was like, "Don't pet the cat, you'll get the AIDS," because
Oh,
they
yeah.
didn't know where the AIDS.
Yeah.
So I didn't bang a lot of guys, but the ones I did, like, I look back and I'm like, like, I can't believe I let that person inside of my body.
I feel that about a fair. I'm trying to think if I feel that about every single one of them.
Oh, it's so gross.
I'm trying to
Right,
think if there's
Gary?
anyone I don't feel that about.
Wow.
I mean, I have some fondness and affection for. There's one. And then there's one that I didn't sleep with. But
Were
I
you
feel
a
like
hoe or were you pretty chaste?
I was I
somewhere in
was
the
a
middle?
late bloomer.
Okay.
So then I've had this like I've got to make up for lost time thing, although I don't think that I was consciously thinking of it that way. But I did maybe I went through like a phase of sleeping around, I'd say.
Okay.
Although it wasn't like it wasn't like there was multiple guys in a week or a month or anything like that. It
Don't
wasn't
be ashamed.
Yeah,
It's
it wasn't
okay,
like
Alison.
that. But but I wasn't in relationships with every guy I slept with or
I hear
anything.
you.
But I also didn't really understand how it worked. Like I didn't understand that if you like someone and you would like to date them and hope that it will turn into a relationship, sleeping with them the first night is probably not the best idea.
No, and girls
I
don't
didn't
get that. Yeah.
Now do they though?
Dude,
Because you and I
no.
both came of age in the time where women could ask men out and all this stuff that now people think better of.
Oh, dude, listen, I'm way old school when it comes to courting.
Yeah.
I don't ask a dude out. No way. Let them chase you. My mother told me that, and that's probably the one lick of sense that she had. I don't believe in asking guys out.
Oh, I don't either because I don't think it works. I don't think it doesn't help you in the long run. Although
No, and don't bang them early
Yeah.
either. Don't bang them early. I don't think you should do that. Wait,
Right.
so what was I going to ask you? So how is it working with dudes? I asked you that question,
okay.
and then I totally
Yes,
sidetracked you.
and what I
Sorry.
was going to say is the thing that I had just been thinking was like, this is a very airy-fairy thing to say, but
I love it.
There's not enough female energy in my life anymore.
Yeah, me
like
neither.
everyone, because it's, all my time is spent either at work or with my boyfriend, and I don't know why I don't make time to hang out with other people. It's like somehow I always feel like I don't have enough time.
I know.
Yeah.
The
so
older
I
you
was-
get, too, it gets
Right.
worse.
So I was thinking about that recently, that there's really not that many women that I am close with anymore, and it's sad.
You know
and
what's
I wonder
funny?
what's missing in my life because of it.
No, I totally pegged you because I know you're a guy's girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally a guy's girl. Like, I do the podcast with my husband, and, like, I do Rogan and, the Death Squad. Like, they're
Right.
all
So those are very dudes too.
dudes,
Yeah.
and they're awesome. Like, I love them. They're all my brothers, and they're great. But if you're dude-oriented, it is hard to find females that you can, like, relate to. And because I also find that, like, I don't know, maybe this is terrible to say, but the culture now is so fucking disappointing. Like, I was on Pinterest, and I wanted to blow my brains out. Like, I've been obsessed with Pinterest for months. Just like, is this real? Like, is this fucking really? It's like recipes and mason jars and
Yeah.
manicures. That's what we're worried about.
It's dream decor.
The Kardashian, like, it's like the 50s. Like, I don't know. I just find that, yeah, some broads, that's all they care about.
So when you say the culture is disappointing, you mean the culture of ladies out there?
Yeah, and I see, like, at least, this sounds terrible,
No, it's okay.
but I see a lot of it, like, when I tour, and, like, I tell this joke where I say that I like being married because I can finally just give up in the way that I always knew I could. And that I buy my makeup at the pharmacy. I don't wax my meow. I wear sweatpants. Like, I'm a pig. And you know what? Sometimes, not all the time, but I see some women's faces in the audience, and they're, like, shaking their heads like, no, you're not supposed to do that. You should be a lady. Like, they're
I am
genuinely
horrified
mad. Yeah. And I'm
Over
like,
the notion of no sweatpants.
right. So, I don't know. I have a hard time relating.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
See, to me, the ideal, like I was saying before, the ideal relationship is one where you are completely yourself and there's not that artifice and you're
Right.
burping and farting and whatever it is. And I think that's because there's that need, and maybe this is a childish, or it's coming from a very young place, but that need to just be unconditionally accepted.
Oh, for sure.
And I know that that's not entirely realistic, but that's where that's coming from. So the idea that I would be with someone who would be like, you wear sweatpants too much, or like, do you have to remove your bra and makeup the minute you walk through the door?
Yes.
Because I do.
I do too, yeah. Wait, but why is that unrealistic to be accepted entirely? I think that's the person you should marry.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Why do I think that's unrealistic? Let me rephrase it. I think that the idea that someone will just accept every single thing about you and that you don't even have to try it all is not entirely realistic. And I don't.
Oh, I
but
see
but
what
I
you're
don't
saying.
think that you should. But here's the thing. I don't think that you should have to try really hard in the superficial areas. Like I don't
Right.
think that should be what someone's love is. That's the condition. It should, but I do think you should.
Contingent on, yeah.
I do think you have to try in terms of just being a decent person.
Oh, yeah, and taking care of yourself physically,
Yes.
emotionally,
Yeah.
spiritually. No, I mean, look, I don't wear sweatpants all the time. Tommy and I were going to go out tomorrow night for our anniversary or whatever, and I'm going to wear a nice dress. I'm going to put on makeup because, like, I'll spiffy up for him, and he'll do the same for me. But I think that relationships that are built on superficial shit, and you see that a lot in L.A., you know, the trophy wife or the trophy
Yeah.
boy or whatever.
And my sense
that's
is always that
bullshit.
they don't really even know each other. Like,
No.
what do they talk about?
I don't know. I'm not sure I want to know.
Yeah. So how'd you and Tom or Tommy meet?
We met at the Cat Club, a comedy club, Upper Sunset, and he was like 23 and I was 26, and I was smoking a cigarette outside of the club, and we just started talking, and I really liked him because he was like the one, he wasn't a douchey male comic in the sense that, like, when you're a female comic, you're just like, you know, in this environment, you're the one girl that they all see and come in contact with, so you're like prey. You know, you're the female energy, and he was like the one dude that wasn't, he didn't treat me like I was the one thing to pounce on, and I really liked him, and he was so mature. My husband has the soul of like a 40-year-old man by the time he was 23, and I really like the calmness of him. I really like his perspective on life, and he's so centered and so secure, and that's something I think lack, and that I work on a lot in therapy and everything. And so he calms me, he balances me out. And I think, I don't know, I don't really talk about our marriage a lot because, like, I don't want to jinx it, you know. I don't want to tell people because they're like, oh no, if it's out there, then I might jinx it. So I don't know. You think you're gonna marry this guy you live with?
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
do
so. I was. Here's that sentence again. Thinking on my way over.
You're very contemplative. What did you
I
study in
know.
school?
English.
Okay, good. So you're a thinker and a reader.
Yeah, but I liked philosophy as well. But I was just listening to, was it Mark Maron and Pete Holmes, or I don't know who I was listening to. Someone was saying that it's really actually arrogant to preface stuff with, I was just saying, or I was just thinking.
Why?
Like, I don't know why they were saying that. I think that to say I was just saying is like, it presupposes that the other person gives a fuck whether you have actually said this before or not. But I do it out of
like
this need to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
this is not an entirely, like, I'm you know, repeating myself a little bit. But I'm trying to figure out whether I want to have a big wedding or whether I need to have a big wedding or not. Because I growing up, I always heard girls say something like, you know, that's not for me. And I always thought, no, but for me, that is for me. I want the whole thing. I want the fairy tale, all of that. But I don't know that I really want that anymore. My sister is younger than I am, and she got married, and she had the whole big to-do. And I think going through that with her
it's
and
worse.
watching all of that kind of purged me of the need myself. And I just feel like I'm not that young, and I don't like planning things. And I feel like that it's honestly the idea of putting together a wedding just seems like, ugh.
It's the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Do you watch Flipping Out with Jeff Lewis?
No, I
All right.
probably should.
I watch a ton of shitty reality shows. I don't watch anything scripted. And Jenny Poulos just got married, and Jenny Poulos is like in her 40s. It's her second marriage, and she did a huge wedding with like the white dress and a banquet hall. And at first I judged her because I was like, come on, bitch, it's your second one.
Yeah.
Like, you're not
At least
wearing...
wear a off-white dress.
Yeah, come on now. Let's get... But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? That was her heart. That's what she wanted. That's what her little dog heart wanted. And you got to go with what your soul wants you to do. Don't think about the work, because it's going to suck either way to plan a little wedding or a big one.
Yeah. What did you do?
We did, well, Tom's got a huge family, and I have a very small family. And since my father was paying for the wedding, I was like, let's go somewhere far away. And that way, not a lot of people will come, and my poor father I wouldn't have to pay for it. And so we went to a small island in the Bahamas called Elutra, and we got married on Elutra with like 40 people. But what you'll find is that it's planning the wedding sucks because your future in-laws will get up your ass, and I don't know if you get along with them. But then if you have sister-in-laws, everyone will have an opinion. Right. About how to do what you want to do.
And unfortunately,
and
I am the kind of person, Gary can attest to this, I tend to listen to everyone's opinion about something. And if they have an opinion that's different than what I want, that's kind of the other reason that I should be in therapy, just to get a little bit more of a spine, even though this is something I've worked on before. Like, if I think one thing and someone else thinks something else, I feel compelled to consider their thing, and it drives me it makes everything take so much longer, right?
No.
Now, why do you do it? I do it because I second guess myself, and I just don't. Yeah.
But do you know why you second guess yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of had some crazy making parents where no decision was ever made lightly, and my mom is very, very anxious and methodical with all decisions. And so I've never, once I saw her make a quick decision, which is the TV broke and she went out and bought a new one the same day. That and
wait, are they immigrants too?
No, actually.
They sound way like warlord, like my folks. Like it was always World War II in my house, literally.
Yeah.
Like the mentality of the scarcity. Mm-hmm. You know, standing in line, like all that stuff. So anyway, but you sound like you grew up in post-communist bullshit like I did.
It is that sensibility,
Scarcity,
even though they're not.
right.
Yeah. So, right. Exactly. So everything was just very tense, and I think I just absorbed it, because my mom certainly didn't sit me down and explain that I need to drive myself insane and everyone around me insane over every decision I make because there's a right and a wrong. You know, she certainly didn't, she doesn't like that about herself, but somehow I just absorbed it. So
that's, you know what I like about you, Alison? I think
tell me.
You're the first person I've met, I think, ever in my life in this show business.
Oh, I like where this is going.
You're so open about every insecurity that you have.
Thank you.
That's a wonderful gift to share with people, because I was very, I just started kind of sharing that stuff because as a comedian you have to be so tough and funny all the time, and to show that vulnerability is so wonderful because so many people relate to you and your bullshit, your issues. I love that.
See, I think my belief is that everyone deep down is insecure. Everyone walks away from interactions with other people that they don't know that well thinking, oh, I feel like, why did I say this, or why did I do this?
After this podcast, I'm going to go and sit in my car and scrutinize everything I said.
Well, you shouldn't. You shouldn't, because you're fabulous.
I'm gonna scrutinize myself.
But no, I just think that everyone feels like they're the only one, and that if only they didn't have this kind of insecurity, then their life would be so much better and different. And so people feel insecure, but then also ashamed for feeling insecure.
That's the big
But
one.
there's a handful of people out there who pretend not to have any vulnerability or weakness, and they are ruining it for the rest of us because everyone compares themselves to them. But I wonder, those people, are there certain people in their life, who are in their inner circle, who they admit their vulnerability to, or do they not even admit it to themselves?
They don't know it themselves, I think.
So they're just megalomaniacs.
Well, because no, here's the thing. Not all people that can't admit their flaws are megalomaniacs. They can also be deeply ashamed of those flaws. Because my mother criticized everything about me growing up. So I learned that weaknesses or vulnerabilities were a bad thing. So that's why I started to hide it. Oh, I'm not ashamed. So it gets layered with shame.
Right.
And until you can go having a weakness or a vulnerability, it isn't a bad thing. It's just on the spectrum of who I am, then you're so much happier for it. But that's such a great service, because I think especially in the podcast world, it's so dude heavy, and dudes don't relate by sharing feelings. Sometimes they just relate by telling stories.
Yeah.
And you're like, I wish I could hear a podcast where people just share their feelings about shit.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. show. Yeah. Yeah, Alison Rosen is your new best friend.
This is Corolla Digital.